Still on the search of that one true love? On the limbo in this crazy world of dating, marriage, relationships? Well, listen to the Golden State Media Concepts Relationship Podcast, your one-stop podcast for everything about relationships.
Well, hello, and welcome to Golden State Media Concepts Relationships Podcast. I'm your host, John Johnson. I'm going to be talking about managing some personal stress, just give you some ideas about how you can get a handle on that. And also, let me share this with you right up front. I am partnering with Care Of. Now, let me tell you who Care Of is. They're a subscription service that delivers vitamins and supplements, and they are customized for your specific health needs. You'll take a short quiz and answer a few questions about your diet, your lifestyle, and fitness and health goals, and they will put together a personalized plan just for you. I'm going to talk a little bit more about that right after my first segment, so I'm going to jump right into this here. We all have stress in life, right? It's and we have different ways in which we manage that, but I'm going to try to put this together collectively. And over the course of this particular episode, talk about a few things that, I've managed to figure out, and maybe we can come up with a few more. So here's the idea. There's no way we get out of being stressful. It's just a part of the human condition. But I think what happens to some people is that they tend to find ways to manage it better, whether some people do the exercise thing or whether it's meditation. And sometimes the thing with stress is you don't even know that you're experiencing it. It's just something that sort of creeps up on you in any given situation. You might feel it or respond to it rather, and in that way you get into reaction mode. And as that goes on for you, sometimes you don't realize that you haven't come down from the stressors. So sometimes it's the idea of recognizing it when it's there and doing something about it once you reach the end of whatever cycle is that's sort of creating this. And for example, if you're meeting a person who's not your favorite person, but you have to endure some conversation or a situation, circumstance, and it's not about being in reaction mode to what's happening in front of you. Maybe the person is a difficult person to deal with, but acknowledging that you are feeling something because of that, because by doing so, it's like you're signaling to your body, okay, I'm going to take care of you. We will go through this together. And here's an example, and I've dealt with this a number of times. You have an individual that comes to you with a complaint, because I've done a lot of customer service work. You have an individual that comes to you with a complaint. Now, whether it's reasonable or unreasonable, oftentimes makes you feel a little better, because if you feel like it's a reasonable complaint, then you want to definitely do something about it. But when the unreasonable ones happen, those can be a little more difficult, because it could even make you feel like, well, you don't even trust the person as they are explaining this problem to you. And one of my techniques in dealing with that is, in the kind of work that I've done, is to say, this person wouldn't come to me if a problem didn't exist. So I will listen to them explain, and with the understanding that I know my job really well. So sometimes what people are trying to describe to me isn't really accurate. They're just doing the best that they can to explain their problem. Now, again, I'm treating this situation like I'm a customer service representative. So the person comes to me and they want a solution. Now, I'm going to do my level best to give them what I think they're after in terms of, what's fair and reasonable. And I know that these situations sometimes are full of mistrust. But aside from the way that might be your own personal bias, I try to listen to everyone with an open mind. And as I'm navigating this conversation with them, at least trying to get the facts, I don't want to say too much up front because that I could be dropping in my implicit bias on a certain situation. So but treating this overall, so I'm going to listen to them, and I may take a notepad so I can write down, jot down some of what I think are the highlights of the facts of the situation. And when you've got a lot of experience with problems, then maybe you know the answers right away, and you can sort of cut to the chase. And there are times when you can interject into these situations and give a solution to the customer, especially when they are fairly minimal. But when they're a little more layered, there seems to be a lot going on, and there's a big story behind it. Sometimes it's worth listening to as much as you think is material, long as they don't go for the cycle, start the story all over again, or talk about a bunch of things that really aren't germane to the problem that we're trying to solve. And again, we're dealing with stress, and this is how you can manage this situation. So you're taking the information down, and I think sometimes it's important to ask questions so that you can at least direct the conversation so that you can sharpen it like a pencil. Because we really want to get down to the specifics of what brought them in for this problem, not something that happened 20 years ago, but something that's happening right now so that we can solve it. And realize, too, that when you're listening to people, sometimes I use the word sometimes a lot because there's so many variables in these kinds of things. But they could be describing lots of different things at the same time because people are overwhelmed, and people oftentimes don't have this thing worked out. They're just dumping a bunch of stuff on you. That's stressful. And what you're trying to do is you're trying to make sense of this pile of stuff that they're leaving in front of you. So you wind up having to unfold or untangle these things and make sense of it. Because remember, you're the expert. So they want you to fix all their problems for them. As you move through this situation, you've written down, or maybe even mentally you've been able to keep track of some of the things. Then you want to move towards a solution. And I think it's reasonable to want to try to solve it. Some things can be solved right away. Some things can't. And given that we want to have reasonable expectations, because remember, you're the customer service rep, I would never promise something that you can't deliver. Because people tend to want to get rid of a problem and send it back out the door, and you wind up over committing to something when you don't even really know what you're solving. You tend to create bigger problems because once you've set up the expectation for somebody that you're going to solve this, and I know there's a desire to want to solve it, but for your reputation and for your own integrity, you want to be able to know what you can deliver on. And this is why I say take down the facts, take down the information, contact information, whether it's phone number, email, or something like that, where you can get back to them and you can follow up. And by doing this, you give yourself time to put together the facts. Because one of the things that I deal with is I not only deal with the customer that comes to my window, but I may have to deal with a technician or somebody that provides service to a customer. And I have to get their input on it because there could be some things that are happening on their end that really help tell the story a lot better than just the one person you're speaking to. And and when you deal in a customer service situation like that, I think it's really important to bring all the people involved in the conversation so that they can have input, because obviously in my supervisorial capacity, the people who are on the ground, who are doing the job, are going to want to have input. You're going to have them be part of the solution, because I like permanent solutions. I don't necessarily want to have somebody come back and repeat the story, because for what it's worth, when they have to come back, hopefully it's to compliment you. And I've had that response too. I mean, it doesn't happen very often, but at least if they come back and if you have a place of business, then they can come back with the understanding that not only are you a problem solver, but that you have integrity and you're looking to do your best, not only for you, but for them. And people appreciate that. So think about this as you're going forward, that the mentality part of this is you are not the fault. You are there to collect the information and to try to have the best outcome that you can. And try not to take it personal. I know that when people are in your face and they're yelling at you, it certainly does not feel very good to be on the receiving end of that, because we can all remember what it's like to be upset, and none of us like to feel like we are being attacked. That is a very hard thing to do, is to be able to set that part aside. But sometimes it is the job to learn how to de-escalate situations, and letting people vent is a part of that process. It doesn't have to go on forever, but for a short period of time while you're gathering the facts. Look, I'm going to take a quick break, and you're going to listen to these messages, and we'll come back and sort this out some more. Stay tuned. Hi there, it's John from Golden State Media Concepts Relationships Podcast. And at the top of the show, I mentioned Care Of. Now, Care Of is a subscription service that delivers vitamins and supplements which are customized for your specific needs. Like, you take a short quiz and answer some questions about your diet, your lifestyle, your fitness and health goals, and Care Of will put together a personalized plan just for you. So I want you to get back into a healthy routine. And because summer is approaching, let's make health and wellness a priority again. Care Of makes it easy to upgrade your health routine, and you give yourself the support this season with a boost. Now, whether you're looking for energy, better sleep, to maintain your stress, or something else to help you feel your healthiest, Care Of's online quiz also helps you know exactly what you need. Their quiz is personalized. It asks you about your diet, your health goals, your lifestyle choices, and it only takes about 5 minutes to fill it out. It's a scientifically backed vitamin and supplement recommendations, and your answers to easy questions like how much you sleep, are you getting enough, are you looking for more energy, do you need something to support your weight management goals, healthy hair, skin, nails. It really gets personalized. And taking care of your health should be easy and convenient, because it can be hard to really know what vitamins and supplements you should be taking, but Care Of makes it easy to find out what you specifically need to be your healthiest. They also deliver vitamin packs in customized packages to your recommendations, so you're only taking what you really need. Depending on your Care Of plan, you'll get daily vitamin packs and or protein powder, which is sent right to your door. It's so cute and customized, and the packets even say your name on them. Now, you can modify your subscription at any time when your needs or preferences change. So here's one of the Care Of differences. They make sure that what you're putting into your body comes from the best backed sources, and it's honest guidance and transparency, and it's all available on their website. The Care Of also offers protein powders, which are available in individual packets for on the go and in tubs. Again, it's all personalized to your fitness goals and dietary preferences. The individually wrapped vitamin packets are now made from compostable plant-based film that meets the same safety standards. So your vitamins are kept fresh while now being better for the environment. Vegan and vegetarian supplement options are also available to match your dietary needs and to ensure that you're getting the nutrients you need for those specific requirements. Now, here's something I want to share with you. When I took the online quiz, because I do take the vitamins, and I love them, I took the online quiz and was surprised at how comprehensive it was for somebody like me. I wanted something to help me sleep and to boost my brain power and a couple of other things, so that this stuff, I was surprised. And here's the other part. Like I said, it is delivered right to your door. And if you go out and buy a bunch of vitamins, how you set up the little pill things for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, well, they already do that for you. So it comes in the packets. It's already broken down, and you just tear up the packet. You take all the vitamins, supplements for that day, and you're done. It's easy. Remember, those packets are made from compostable film, so it's better for the environment. It was easy. It's convenient. And here's something else I want to tell you about. You can get a discount on your first order of up to 25% off your first order. So here's what you do. You go to takecareof, takecareof.com, takecareof.com, and enter in the promo code. I want you to put in relationship. That's relationship in the promo code. So go to their website, which is takecareof.com, and enter relationship in the promo code, and you are going to get 25% off that first order. Now, that is a great deal. Like I said, I've taken the vitamins. I love them. It's easy. It's convenient. And because you're listening to my program, you put relationship in that promo code, and you're going to get 25% off. Give it a try. I think you'll really feel a healthy difference.
Are you tired of the same old news? Are you sick of the seemingly endless political spin and negativity? The GSMC America Still Beautiful podcast is a weekly news podcast covering all the top positive and uplifting news stories. We cover stories that will inspire, uplift, and remind you of the good in the world. Tune into the Golden State Media Concepts America Still Beautiful podcast to get all the great and positive news stories of today. Download the GSMC America Still Beautiful podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Google Play, or anywhere you find podcasts. Just type GSMC in the search bar.
Hello and welcome back to Golden State Media Concepts Relationships Podcast. I'm John Johnson, talking about dealing with the stress. And the scenario here is a supervisor who's dealing with customers and how do you problem solve? How do you deal with what's coming at you? You can relate this to your personal life too, but I was thinking of this in particular because I've lived this time and time and time again. And the way I manage these situations was, and I do it in my home, very similarly. Take down the facts, and when somebody is venting, and I understand that sometimes it can seem like a very personal attack on you or on me, I have to sort of put that aside and listen to what I'm being told and realize that when someone is complaining to me about something, they are probably doing the best that they can to explain it. They don't necessarily understand the story or the background part of it as well as I do. Being a supervisor, I understand my field of work and the problems that come up related to it. So when a customer comes to me and has a question or a concern or a complaint, and I'm listening to them explain their experience of it, I have to fill in the blanks because people see it the way they experience it, or they explain it the way they experience it. And when they don't have a background in it, they may use terms in a fairly loose fashion, which could have very, very specific meaning to you. And if you listen to them like they are an expert, then it may send you down the wrong direction. That's why I encourage people just to take down information and to listen to it and try to mirror back what the customer is saying so that you understand their point of view. Now, what you may be tasked with doing in these kinds of instances is you may have to do a little bit of educating so that people realize what's actually happening here. And sometimes that's a big help because when people see the light go on, or when you see the light go on in their mind about some of the things that they missed, or even in your conversation with them, you might even bring up some stuff that they kind of recall as part of the experience. Oh, yeah. And it can kind of validate if you're going the right direction with it. I think this is important for your credibility because when you're relating these facts to someone to sort of help explain to them what may be some possibilities, it helps them know that you're listening. Now, you don't want to get too immersed in explaining a lot of examples and things because sometimes you can over-educate someone, and in the short time that you may have with them, they can just get overwhelmed and get frustrated. Remember, people want this, they just want the end result to be what they expect. And it may, in your explanation of things, seem like you are trying not to deliver something. So I have to learn to keep it tight, keep it short, but take down the facts. And then when I have the problem resolved, then if people want to get into a longer conversation about it, I usually bring it forward at that time to help them understand how, for them to know when something is going wrong, when to sound the alarms, as opposed to sometimes people wait a little too long to complain about something, and it makes it even more difficult to deliver what it is you are there to deliver. So there's the education part of this, and on both parts. There's you listening to them explain to the problem, and then you figuring out what you can do about it, and then getting back to them saying, okay, now we've got it resolved. Like, I have to take a commercial break, and I'm going to come back and wrap this up. Stay tuned.
GSMC Beauty Tips Podcast gives you advice on everything from hair to fashion to skincare products. We'll talk about the latest trends in makeup, hairstyles, and anti-aging remedies. And we'll cover all of the newest fashion trends. If you have an interest in or questions about the beauty trends that might work best for you, the Golden State Media Concepts Beauty Tips Podcast has got you covered. Download the GSMC Beauty Tips Podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Google Play, or anywhere you find podcasts. Just type GSMC in the search bar. The Golden State Media Concepts Travel Podcast, the show that gives you advice on everything travel. We explore places you've always wanted to go, as well as giving tips for traveling in those places. We'll give you advice on the best sites for travel tips, information, and discounts. Join us as we travel the world, explore cultures, and meet new people. The Golden State Media Concepts Travel Podcast has got you covered. Download the GSMC Travel Podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Google Play, or anywhere you find podcasts. Just type GSMC in the search bar.
Hi there, John Johnson here at the Golden State Media Concepts Relationships Podcast, and I've been talking about managing stress. And the scenario that I brought forward, I'm talking about being a supervisor and dealing with customers who come in, have a concern, have a complaint, and dealing with that. So it's about being able to listen to that customer, taking down the facts, realizing that they're going to explain it from their experience. And, this sort of assumes that they're going to be telling you the truth about it. I mean, you can figure this thing out. The other thing is important, and it's really important when you're being a listener, is to not take it personal so that you can hear the story, hear the explanation, and there's usually something about it that you can grasp, that you can lift out of that can help you make sense of what the problem is. And remembering that people explain it from their experience. They may not be skilled at even understanding the nuances that you, the supervisor, the expert of this, would know. And people may use terminology that sort of belies the fact that, no, they're not an expert. They're just trying to use a language to explain something. And you take all of that in. You take it in because you're trying to figure out a solution to the problem. One of the things that I like doing, especially when your problem involves talking to managers or other personnel that might be, say, in the field, so to speak, that actually perform the work, is to get their input. Because oftentimes they might even know precisely about the situation you're talking about. And if you can bring them into the conversation, on your side of it, to get some input. So when it comes to the problem-solving part of it, because they are going to be the boots on the ground that are going to be doing the manual part of this, I think as a manager, I always felt it was good to get them involved because I can remember being in that position of having to do the work, and I wanted to have input. Because it also helped give a more accurate picture of what was going on. Again, sometimes people don't really have the facts. They just explain their experience of it, and getting it from both sides gives a reality check to it. And when I'm wrapping it up, I do the follow-up call. Remember, I took down the email or the phone call. I like personal phone calls better because it helps me wrap it up quicker. Now, some people do the email thing because they want a paper trail. I would do that when it's necessary, when I have follow up on both directions. If I'm in the middle of this and I have a boss above me that needs an answer to something, and then I need to do follow-up, because some people just don't necessarily do phone calls very well, or they screen their calls. But I personally like the phone call. That's just my style. And in doing that, I also get the opportunity to educate in a way that I feel is more personal. I have a style that's fairly relaxed, and I enjoy talking to people. And some people don't do as well with the conversation part of it, but I also like to educate, so that when a person is in the conversation, it allows them to ask questions so that they are better informed. And I like to get the facts out there. I like to get the truth out there. Now, there's another thing that just popped into my head, and I deal with this from time to time. If I'm dealing with individuals that have, there might be a language barrier, I have at my disposal many coworkers who are multilingual, and I may borrow them to do some translating, because there are some cultural things that they are able to interject into the conversation that really makes this thing go well. And I've always had at my fingertips the communication of many coworkers, their contact information, and being in the job that I've had, I could call them on the phone real quick, say, hey, could you translate this for me, and get it going. One of the benefits is it helps my coworkers feel like they are important, that they're special, and I like to celebrate them. I have been in a teaching capacity in the jobs that I've done in many, many, many occasions, and have developed some very good relationships, because I've also asked people, that is, students that I've taught, what their background is, what their cultural background is, and some of the things that they've done. And overall, everybody seems to like to really help. They want to be part of the solution. And this is a way in which allows me to get them involved, get them engaged in it, and they feel like they are part of a bigger purpose. And it allows them to bring their skills to the job, personal skills that they have, be it in understanding different cultures and speaking the language. And they get to be celebrated for that. They get to be in the spotlight. And I've always taken those opportunities to acknowledge them in a public way so that they have the respect of their peers. And I know that that's important. A lot of people, when they go to the job, we're not just there for a check. We are there because we like what we do, and it really feels good to be acknowledged in that place, amongst your peers. That is special, because I also want it known that I am not an island unto myself. I like to spread the love and give attention to other people so that they feel good. And like I say, when they feel like they are a part of something, then they want to contribute. And I feel as a leader, it's my job to nurture that in other individuals, giving them opportunities to be bigger than they thought that they could be. Now, I'm going to pivot real quick and show how I tie this into my personal life. Now, it has been my relationship with my kids, my significant other, and how I approach problem solving, and with being an active listener, being compassionate, and you do this with love. And it makes managing these kinds of situations a lot less stressful. Now, something I'm always aware of in my own circumstance is realizing when I've reached a point where it seems like, wow, I'm on overload. So I know where that line is, and when I'm approaching that, then I can take myself out of the situation. I'll give myself a break. If I'm in a conversation, I'll say, hey, you know what? Let's table this for the moment. I need to take a break. Let me come back at this, and we'll try it some more. Just need to take a break. And I do that. I do that for myself, knowing that I can manage this. I don't force myself to stay in these things as if it's going to break me, because that's something that some people don't do for themselves. They don't give themselves the opportunity to say, hey, I need to take a break. I will come back. I can manage this better. I think when you force yourself to endure that sort of hardship, then you become resentful, not only at the other person, but sometimes of yourself, because you feel like maybe your body, you're mistreating yourself. And that's that internal dialogue thing that's going. And it can feel really toxic. I mean, it's one thing to have responsibility, and I think we all know what that feels like. But we also have to know that in being responsible, there is, you want to be responsible to yourself as well. Now, this isn't about avoiding the responsibility. This is about taking a break, taking the time out to give yourself some rest so that you can regroup, that you can think. And this is something that, we all operate at different speeds, and I've got lots of things that fly in and out of my head from time to time. I have a notepad. I write these things down. And something that I start on today may have a better solution for me tomorrow. Now, a lot of the problems that I work on, I've seen them before. That makes it easy. I can just kind of pull it out and run it with it. But if it's something that might be fairly new, and I give myself an opportunity to do an investigation, or whatever word you want to use, to kind of ferret out all the facts and come up with what I think is a reasonable solution. These things are doable. And when you're dealing with people, I think it's always good to be able to get back to them, because people feel appreciated with you and their time. Because one of the things that I've experienced even more and more is, as time goes on, it seems like people don't return the phone calls. When you say, hey, you're going to call me back, a lot of times they don't. And more often now, they don't. And when I have been one of those individuals who makes the phone call, who returns the phone call, people are very appreciative of that. It doesn't have to be a long one. It's just one that affirms the fact that, hey, this is what I'm doing about the problem, and thank you for your call. We'll take care of it. Those things go a long way. Look, I'm going to wrap this up now. I want to thank you for listening. And if you're needing to manage your stress, there are a few tools that I've shared with you in this podcast that can do that. It's dealing with those situations when you have customers, and you can borrow a lot of those things and use them in your own personal life. Okay? So thank you for going along with me on this journey, and we'll catch you next time.
You've been listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Relationship Podcast, part of the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. You can find this show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and Google Play. Just type in GSMC to find all the shows from the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network, from movies to music, from sports to entertainment, and even weird news. You can also follow us on Twitter and on Facebook. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's program.